Good evening, and welcome to another edition of The School Zone. I am your host, Kyle Powers. Tonight, we begin our journey into the school zone with a look at Senator Tim Johnson's visit to Lincoln High School. The quality of our democracy is only as good as the people who are engaged in it. Those words came from South Dakota Senator Tim Johnson during a recent visit with students at Lincoln High School. Despite a hectic congressional schedule, the career politician knows it's important to make time for young people, even those who aren't old enough to vote.
But I do find that there are a lot of really talented kids out there who have an interest in public service. And so I always remind kids that when they leave high school, I hope they'll give some thought to an internship in either my DC or my Sioux Falls office. Because I think a lot of these kids really do have an interest in what makes government work and what are the kinds of priority choices we have to make as a democracy.
50 young Democrats who are passionate about the political process stayed after class to learn more about the issues being discussed in Washington.
I think the common misconception is that high schoolers are very apathetic, they don't care. They're more interested in playing video games than anything political. And I think to really have someone there at the top levels of government to talk about the most important issues that affect them on a daily basis is the most important thing of all.
We're going to turn 18 soon, voting, and it's a freedom that you're given that you shouldn't neglect, and it's a freedom that people that they die for, and so you shouldn't neglect that and throw it off as just not a big deal.
And if you don't appreciate your freedoms, your responsibilities, your duties as an American, I mean, what is there to live for? To me, it's a sacred thing.
During his visit with students, the senator answered questions on a wide range of topics, from the prescription drug plans to poverty on South Dakota Indian reservations to the Clean Air and Water Act. Students also heard an extra science lesson while Johnson explained his support for the controversial issues surrounding stem cell research.
Stem cells have the potential, when transplanted, to turn into any part of your body that it's transplanted to. And so damage to, whether it's a brain cell for Alzheimer's disease, and this is why Nancy Reagan is so very supportive of stem cell research, has that potential, all the way to replacing injured nerve cells and so on.
The war in Iraq was also on the minds of Lincoln students who might one day be called to serve themselves.
Well, the problem with Iraq, of course, is that we can all have different opinions about whether we should be there or how we got there, but here we are. Iraq was a brutal, evil regime under Saddam Hussein, no question about that.
Johnson also took time out to talk about how South Dakota students fare when comparing our test scores with the scores from students across the nation.
I think that we've got good students that do well, they've got good work ethic, they study pretty hard, they play by the rules, and so I think we can be proud of our educational system in South Dakota and the kids' performance.
The senator is monitoring President Bush's No Child Left Behind law, which requires all students to be proficient in math and reading by the year 2014. He expects to see some changes in the future.
I don't think it's going to be repealed, but I do think that there are modifications that would make it more realistic. Most of the problems we had in South Dakota deal with some of the subgroupings. Now, we want kids in English as a second language and special ed to progress as well. And so we want that to happen, but yet the way the testing is done, I think, creates unrealistic demands on the school and sometimes gives the school the appearance of not being successful when in fact it may be a very, very successful school. So I think that there are some ways that we have to incorporate a little more flexibility into some of the subgroupings. There are other issues as well in terms of teacher certification and so on, but I think that's the principal problem we have, along with the fact that, frankly, it is not funded at the level it's supposed to be.
Johnson is frustrated by that lack of funding.
And so our school districts are using their own money to comply with federal mandates. That's money that could have been used for teacher pay, for curriculum broadening, for any number of other important things that they want to do. I think that's unfair, and at a time when we are spending $2 billion a week in Iraq and have tax cuts costing $70 billion being proposed, that we ought to be able to come up with a 12 nationwide for No Child Left Behind. So I think we need modification both in some of the details of the program as well as, frankly, better funded.
Back in the auditorium, Senator Johnson tells the students he knows not everyone shares his love for politics, but he's thrilled with the growing number of teens who are getting involved by joining campaigns.
Because we need a new generation of political leadership. Some of you will run for political office, at least that's my hope, everything from school board to United States Senate for that matter. Many of you may not run for political office yourself, But you will be, I hope, always involved in demanding accountability from elected officials, that they don't just tell you what you want to hear, but that they actually vote that way and follow through with the kinds of values and priorities that you believe in.
Because decisions made today will affect students tomorrow.
Are we going to have affordable health care? Are we going to have a clean environment? Are we going to invest money in our schools? The more that you're involved, the more the answers to those questions will be consistent with your values and your priorities. The less you're involved, the more other people will decide those questions for you. There's no such thing as a vacuum in politics. If you don't get involved, someone else will for you, and their perspectives and their answers to all of those questions may be radically different than your own.
And that's a chance these students aren't willing to take. Students at Lincoln High School can find a job working in different classroom settings. The Student Mentor Peer Tutor program gives high school students a taste of what being a teacher is like. Todd Novak oversees this program and will tell us more.
My name is Todd Novak, and I supervise the student mentoring and the peer tutoring program at Lincoln High School. The program right now this year has 106 students in the student mentoring and the peer tutoring program. The differences between the program is the student mentors are those that are mentoring students, that they leave the building. They are at the elementary school or the middle school. They are working in the classrooms during recess, during the lunchroom time, and they are helping out in the classroom.
UJ, you making a puzzle? Help you guys? All right, all right. Find the corners. This is gonna take a while though. It's a big puzzle. Does that fit? I don't think that goes with that, UJ. Yeah. See, these are people. You're supposed to get it with people. Dump them all out. The yellow ones go with the buses. That's the bus driver, so obviously he's going with the bus. Those all go over there. Where do they think this one? Does this one go here because the green? Well, I'm Aaron Rood. I'm a senior at Lincoln High School, and I'm mentoring at Robert Frost and Mrs. Dooley's Head Start preschool class. It's kind of a mix between all the 3 to 5-year-olds, and I got into this because I needed the credit, and I heard Mr. Beck was a real down-to-earth guy, so I decided to go out for this class, and it was actually a real nice choice. My day basically consists of getting here, and the kids are just sitting down and eating the meals or eating their snack, and it's usually a vegetable or a cheese sandwich. Today it was, and milk and orange juice. After that, they throw their stuff away, push in their chairs, always wash their hands, and then they go do small group time, what they're doing right now. And they break up into little groups, red, yellow, and blue. And I usually have the last group that doesn't work with the 2 other teachers, and they just do little group things or whatever they want to do. And that consists of my day. I leave around 10:05, 10 o'clock every day and head back to school. That's about it.
What do you find the most enjoyable about doing it?
I'd have to say when they ask me just the strange questions, just some random questions like one time, what did she say? UJ's always asking me, short little guy, always asking me when I go back to school. The first day I got here when I left school, he was always like, "Oh, you go back to school?" In his high little pitch voice. And I don't know, that always gets me talking and everything. Mrs. Dooley's a nice lady, and Mrs. Raddick's a nice lady too. So all in all, it's just a good atmosphere to be around.
I'm Heidi Dooley, a Head Start teacher here at Robert Frost Elementary. We really enjoy having Aaron in our classroom. He's a great positive male role model for our students. Some of our families do not have a male in their families, and so to have Aaron in our classroom is just a great male role model for some of those students. He's a great help with the kids. He knows just how to interact with them. They love having him. He's a lot of fun for them to play with and interact with. And he's a big help for us in the classroom as well. When you have 17 little children just starting Head Start, they are just getting used to the routine in the classroom, and so to have him helping out helps us tremendously.
The other students, the peer tutors, are working out here at Lincoln High School. They're helping out in all kinds of classrooms, from the adaptive PE to the algebra classes to the foundations of biology or physical science. And they're helping out in the classroom. They're tutoring and they're providing support to the teacher.
So, into test tubes. We got that. Carefully measure out 5 milliliters of hydrochloric acid. Oh, did you get hydrochloric acid? I'll go grab it. Sheet too. Yep, that's good. Okay, so what's it doing? It's going crazy. My name is Alex Nelson, and I'm a senior at Lincoln High School, and I actually had an open period, so I decided that I'd like to try mentoring just because there was a need for it in the building. So I got in touch with Mr. Novak and got into the class, and kind of had trouble at first deciding what I wanted to do, but then decided that the teachers that were asking for mentors probably needed me more than teachers that I would choose to go with. So I ended up in Foundations of Physical Science at Lincoln. And it's been a really good experience. Pretty much I just act as another teacher type. I kind of help her out. Mrs. Johnson is the teacher in that class, and during labs or stuff that the children don't understand, I can go around and help. I actually have a lab partner because there's an odd number of kids in the class. Everybody in this class is still kind of learning English too, so it's a lot more difficult for them to understand classes in English when they kind of don't even know how to speak it right now as strongly as others do. And kind of try to help out as much as I can because there's a lot of need for that kind of stuff in these kind of classes.
The way a student gets involved in the program is they just sign up. And I work with the student and I tell them that the way this is going to work is we just need to agree. I will recommend a teacher, and we kind of negotiate that. And they cannot go somewhere where I really don't think it would be a good idea, and I can't give them a place where they don't feel they'd be comfortable. It's amazing how many times that works out for the best. We have a great time. The students do a fantastic job in just working with students. Not only is it a thing for the kids, where they get some leadership opportunities in order to work with students, in order to be the expert in the classroom, but the district benefits extremely from this experience. Last year, I figured it out, we put in about 350 hours a week of tutoring and support in the classrooms at no charge to the district, and at a great benefit to our students, the adults, or the student mentors and peer tutors, and at a great benefit to the kids that are working in those classrooms.
Survey any Sioux Falls school, and you'll find students from every corner of the world. At a time when tolerance and cultural understanding are key, schools are doing their part to celebrate diversity. At Roosevelt High, the Diversity Committee finds creative ways to expose teens to something new each month.
The Diversity Committee was started about 3 years ago, and it consists of faculty and students. So staff and students make up the committee, and we just do different activities throughout the school year, and we base them on kind of the theme of the month. So sometimes if Native American Day, for example, is going on, then we'll go with that theme. Martin Luther King Day. So we kind of look at things that maybe the students would be interested in, but something that they can learn from as well.
During the month of October, Roosevelt invited the nationally known Native American group Brule for a special performance. Brule blends traditional Native music with sounds of today and has sold more than 1 million CDs worldwide.
Kids are starting to open up and realize that culture is everywhere. It's not just here at school, and so they're being exposed to it at school, but then they go out in the community and they see it as well too. So I think it's you're starting to hear it more places than just in the classroom.
Brule's leader, Paul LaRuche, has been entertaining for more than 30 years. He grew up in Worthington, Minnesota, but was adopted as an infant from the Lower Brule Reservation in South Dakota. LaRuche says his mission is to be a good role model and to use his music to bridge the gap between cultures.
What we've tried to do is incorporate kind of I call a universal message, and it really runs throughout not only our school performances, but it runs in every performance that we put on over the course of a year. And I've always pulled from what I call a little bit of native wisdom that I've tried to incorporate into my life, and I've tried to pass along. I can sum it up really for you in really one short little saying. This is a Lakota saying, Sioux, and I'm sure that most everybody around this area would have heard about it. It's two simple words, Takaway Oyasin. And I think it's a great philosophy. Translated in English, it means we are all related. And the reason I kind of have put it into my mission is that it's something that the Lakota people have by for thousands of years. Now, if you think back over history and even the last 500 years, through great adversity and trying times, our culture has still accepted the philosophy that all of us human beings are very closely connected. And so I think in the world today, it's a great time to kind of absorb that philosophy and try to work it into our everyday lives.
Students applaud the work of the Diversity Committee and say events like this are making a difference in the halls and classrooms at Roosevelt.
I do. I felt that today everybody was very much involved, and some kids thought it was pretty neat, so I do.
It helps the students see multiple cultures to understand why it's good to have friends of multiple cultures.
And if students learn to accept people with different backgrounds, teachers hope that they'll in turn teach that tolerance to their parents.
Sometimes they're our best communication between school and the parents is the kids. They're kind of that liaison between us, and especially like for Brule, for example, if the kids liked it, they have the chance to access it in the community with their families. So I think that's such a great opportunity.
Brule, which includes LaRush's daughter Nicole, son Shane, and his friend Eagle, are proud that their music plays a part in bringing people together.
I think that there is a great interest in the culture. Native American music in particular has always drawn a special interest, and we've been treated with a lot of respect.
LaRush says our country and its people are striking the right chord when promoting cultural diversity.
Yeah, we see a lot of negative news, and this has been a difficult year for the world. But still, I think that overall, from what I've observed, and I'm only one simple human, but I've observed a greater kind of a spiritual awareness happening out there.
He feels at home in the heart of the nation, especially here in Sioux Falls.
I know, despite what people might think, that we live in a great part of the world, the upper Midwest or the North Plains, and Sioux Falls in particular. When it comes to South Dakota history, when we're talking about the relationship between the cultures, I think that Sioux Falls is an outstanding example of diversity and reconciliation of our two cultures. And that's a strong statement. You can travel 300 miles in one direction or the other, and you won't find that particular openness. It's just